Yes, you can go for it, Pierre. Let's go.
Okay, so I think everybody knows what is UI Suite A, but it's always nice to remember it. So our goal is to implement full design systems. So for now, we have components, style utilities, layout, and examples, but we can go further because the design system has other stuff. And we have two goals, is to preserve and improve the Drupal seed building experience and to make this implementation by a front developer without PHP, so in a Drupal theme. So you know this schema already. So we will talk about what happened the last month, what's next, just the sooner, not the big picture. What happened in DrupalCon Prague, some stuff about our communication tools. And after that, for the Braves, there is two subjects I want to brainstorm with you, if you have time. So there was a tree release the last week of September, UI pattern. So this was the expected one, the anticipated one. It was done by Florent during the presentation in DrupalCon. And we have PHP 8.1 and Drupal 10 compatibility. So the two most expected issues. And also, and that was the big work, development moved to Drupal.org. So repo, CI, and issues. Yeah, Florent, you want to add something?
No, you can move forward. Thanks.
So yeah, so now we will not wait 2 years to do 1.4. Huh? We are on the track for the next one. UI pattern italics, one of the modules I'm managing, also got a new issue. So with one feature, absolute URL, it was needed for some project, and also better compatibility with Drupal 10 and UI pattern settings. There was some little issues. And UI pattern settings got also new beta of the 2.0 version. Christian, you want to add something? I didn't see the release note, so that's why I didn't add.
No, actually, I think it's only a bug fix.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
Okay, but it's moving forward. And UI pattern
yeah,
settings.
I think it's nearly, I think it's probably the last, or yeah, maybe one more, but then it will the final release.
Okay. And it's becoming big, UI pattern settings. A lot of features. There is a huge gap between branch 1 and branch 2. So
yeah, it's a lot more plugins there. So because I use it a lot in Layout Builder, so I use it for to configure the Layout Builder sidebar, and I think there are a lot, good widgets there to make them,
So I say that for the community because it's not a small jump going from 1 to 2. There is a lot of things to discover in the features.
Mm-hmm.
We also released two themes, protocol, Mozilla protocol and material in alpha. So we don't expect people to use those themes, but for us, they are very important to test use cases for UI Suite modules, because when we are doing our own project for our own client, we are a bit doing things as we want, and we are taking decision about how the component and the styles and everything will be organized. But when we are implementing existing design system like protocol or material design or Bootstrap, we don't have this freedom. So those themes are very important for the research and development part, even if not a lot of people will use them at the end. And what next? A lot of things. All the modules have roadmaps. But among I have note about UI patterns and the scope defining the next release 1.4 is discussed into an issue created by Michael, and this issue is mixing wishlist from Duel with here Lisa and Tim. So if you want to have a look, or if you want to discuss about what will come soon to UI pattern, this is a ticket. And UI styles, we have some goals too. UI styles today, it's only compatible with layout builders, and it's a bit sad because people don't see the point of declaring style in design system if you can use it only with layout builder. But UI styles is agnostic. UI styles is declaring style utilities as plugins. So it's not linked to to layout builder. That's why we want to integrate it with CK Editor 5, because Florent needs for a project. And also with Florent, we did the views integration, and we need to test it before releasing it. Florent, you want to add something?
Maybe not on UI styles, but no, maybe it is in the other slides about CSS variables. And about UI patterns, maybe also I moved some of my issues and PRs from GitHub to Drupal issue queue. So maybe, if possible, we can have a look for the next release. That's it.
Yes, and if you want to
propose,
if you have an issue,
I will have
move,
to edit the issue. Okay, no problem.
But not only you, everybody. Now our issue queue is on Drupal. So if one of you has an issue on GitHub, he wants to keep track and to keep in the scope, he has to move it to Drupal, because we are only looking the Drupal issue queue now. So
can we close this issue queue on GitHub?
I don't.
Because maybe it's.
We do not have the access, at least me, maybe Pierre, I don't know, but Antonio did not give us full access to the GitHub repository, so we cannot close the issues, the feature of the issues tracking on GitHub. And so also not possible, maybe if we have full access to the GitHub repository, to put a message to say stop using it, go to Drupal.org.
Yes,
but
it's something we need to do, because yes, we need to make it read-only, because it's okay if the issue are staying there.
But should be read-only. You're right.
Okay, so let's talk with Antonio. We take the point, and then we will decide who will contact him. Okay, I did this slide, and it was very oriented from my needs. If someone wants to talk about release to come, it's the time. No? Okay.
Nothing from my side, just pushing forward my old PRs from UI buttons to make them testable.
Okay.
From my side, the UI styles sounds very interesting, but for page design as well, but I need to look into it first before I can say anything about scope.
Yeah, of course, we will be glad to add integration of UI style and page designer. UI styles is supposed to be integrated with anything like UI patterns.
You might want to have a look to style options module. That's doing almost the same thing.
There is a module already?
Yeah, style options, I think it's called. But it's not really maintained anymore, I think.
Okay.
So
maybe we can, with the agreement of the maintainer, we can merge, or we can collaborate.
Yeah, I've seen a video about that module used with paragraph layouts, and it was really exciting. But most of the things we can see in the video are not in the module yet. So maybe chat with him or merge or anything.
I've seen, I know there is a few modules who are competing with UI styles, but I didn't see any of them where UI styles are declared using YAML discovery from a theme. For example, there is layout builder styles where styles are config entities. There is other where styles are declared from PHP code, but styles declared in YAML, I didn't see it. So if style option is doing that,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, okay, so it's very close. Thank you. So it was very nice to meet you in real life. For me, it was my first DrupalCon, so it was huge event. I know some of you, it's like it's a normal year with DrupalCon, but even if there was 2 years without because of COVID. So yeah. I hope we will see each other at Vienne next summer. Who has already decided to come?
I hope so.
Vienna is Drupal Dev Days, huh?
Yeah, it's Drupal Dev Days. Yes,
Vienne Drupal Dev Days and Lille DrupalCon.
Yeah.
Yeah. If my company is sending me, for sure. See you there.
I think I'll be.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It is good.
Lille sounds good.
Yeah,
it's
Lille
very
good.
good.
But Lille,
Even more for us French people.
Yeah. It's the first time in French, huh?
No, there's been Paris, no?
29, in 2009. It was years ago.
Yeah,
I was not doing Drupal at this time, so I was born, but not doing Drupal yet.
We will wait forever in Switzerland because Switzerland is too expensive to make do a Drupal conf.
Yeah.
It will never happen.
Make it sponsored by the government.
there was a Drupal Mountain Summit, no?
Yeah, Mountain Camp.
The Drupal Mountain Camp, yeah. But that's organized by Swiss people for Swiss people, so that's
yeah.
why it works.
So we did a talk, DrupalCon. There was around 70 attendees. This is my calculation. I got a look before starting. Maybe wrong.
The survey in the survey it's 74.
74. So I was close.
You are very close. Yeah.
Oh, my calculation are not good. So the slides are publicly available since the beginning at this link. Of course, we will share the link with you if you don't have it. And the video will be available soon, I guess. So we got some media coverage following DrupalCon. So it's a LinkedIn post. It's a beginning. It's good. We are happy. It's in French, but we take everything. Every sharing, every media coverage. It's heartwarming for us. We have Slack channel too. I think all of you are in the Slack channel already. There is 55 people. So some weeks it's active, some weeks it's more quiet, but it's a good tool to share and to share about new release. For example, Christian, about the beta 16, it would be nice to communicate there. Because me, I discovered the beta when I got a look. I was like, oh, what is UI pattern settings doing? And I got a look and I discovered it. But if you share on the Slack, we can all.
Yeah.
There is also a new core issue, single directory component. It's very successful and very interesting. Yesterday at noon, there was already 74 followers, 51 comments. So it's huge. It's not the first time we have such an issue. Every 2 years, there is an issue like that. every 2 years it's very successful, and then it dies. So I hope this time it will land, and something will arrive to core. I've noticed reading the commands that there is two kind of people writing commands. The people who are following what we are doing with UI Suite. That means it's the tamer who is providing plugins and render elements to the seal builders and the back developers. And some people who are following the classic theming, where they expect the component to follow Drupal. So that's why some people proposed component related to views, mapping related to content entities, and this kind of stuff. So it's interesting because there is really two schools of thoughts, and I don't think they are compatible myself. Did you got a look on this issue?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I've seen your comments, and I've seen what you're meaning when you're talking about people trying to tie these components to Drupal.
Yes, but it's one direction possible. It's not my favorite, but it's one direction possible. But those two directions are going separate ways. So one day, Drupal community will need to decide or we will work with component.
And knowing the front-end people a bit in Drupal, I think they will want to follow our lead with components that are agnostic from their usage. So
that's very nice.
Yeah, I think that's better for usability, but we'll see.
Okay, I hope you will be right. That means we will keep our workflow. Okay, that was the news. Before starting to brainstorming, I have two subjects a bit complicated to share. Someone want to add something about just the little news? Okay, let's move on. So, the more we work on design system implementation, the more we start to have a new module. So we didn't decide the name yet. I call it UI team, but it's only a temporary name. Maybe it will be the official at the end, but yeah, nothing is decided. Team can have theming, like light theme, dark theme, different brands. For example, the European Commission versus the European, I don't remember, Union is two themes from the European design system. Sometimes there is a theme for accessibility reason. So there is theme. Theme is very simple. Most of the time, it's a class you add to the body element. But this class doesn't come from anywhere. It comes from a declaration. We need to know the design system as a team. And then CSS variables. So CSS variables are built on CSS Custom Properties API, which is a standard. And it's like SAS variables, but it can be changed at runtime instead of build time. For example, Bootstrap 5 allow to change the color. Primary is not always blue, secondary is not always gray. Material design allow to change also some margin and some shared looks between components. So now, when we want to implement this kind of stuff, we are doing custom code in the .theme using a hook. I don't remember what is a hook. It's like a theme settings hook, something like that. The idea is to do it in YAML. So to move everything custom we are doing in the theme related to those features to a module instead of the theme. Am I clear? Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's clear enough. The thing is that themes cannot have modules as dependencies. It's forbidden in Drupal. So
theme can declare dependencies on module.
Yeah, it's been 1 year since.
I don't remember which when the change record happened, but now you can.
okay, so I'm outdated.
No problem. It is easy to miss a small change record, etc. So no worry, no worries.
Okay, so we could have some teams that would require this module.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You know, today, if you don't have UI styles, it's okay. Just your UI styles.yaml file is not read. If you don't have UI pattern, your pattern description files are not read. So we don't. If you do like a UI theme.yaml file to add the theme and the variables, if you don't have the UI theme module, it will not break. It's only discovery. So if the discovery is not running, it will not break. The theme can be used without the module.
Okay, in that case, you'd fall back on the default values of the variables.
Yes, because CSS executor properties has always default values.
Okay.
Sorry, from my side, just because I don't know UI theme yet, but the idea is the problem with themes is always like you can only use one basically, or you can only have a single inheritance. So that's why, because of the module thing, we do that for our theme, that we basically have a helper module that provides all those logic. And this is actually an approach that is very practical for us because we can have multiple themes depending on the same base. So we can deliver like the common things via module, but we have different themes and different inheritance there.
Okay. So
maybe I don't know whether this is the topic at all.
Yeah. So maybe you can add this to the issue to share your stuff. When I talk about theme here, I'm talking a theme as defined in the design system we are implementing, like Bootstrap or Material Design. It's a very specific use, but maybe it will be compatible with what you implemented on your module.
Are the themes you're talking to like skins for the design systems?
Yes. You know, some design system you have to change a class very early in the render tree, like in the body, for example, and the class is changing stuff like light and dark is common nowadays.
Yeah, I've seen that in Gin, but I think it should follow the system settings. But that's another topic.
Yeah. Where we store the settings, of course, we will follow the Drupal way. Once again, I'm not talking about theme in a Drupal meaning. I'm talking theme in the design system meaning. The theme you can see when you are exploring some design systems. That's why the name is not good, because the name, UI theme is confusing. Maybe we can call it something else, like a UI
skin. I don't know.
UI skin, why not? Yeah.
Well, UI theme settings, I don't know. I understood what you're saying about that. I think it's a good idea. I think it would be great to have also an UI to let site builders define settings.
Of course, there will be an UI, and the UI will be automatically created from the YAML.
Okay, great.
So it's interesting, and I think it will become mandatory for us, Florent, because for your next project, you want to have CSS variables.
At least currently, yes, CSS variables. And what I wanted to add is that maybe to share knowledge, We had the feedback from Node, Theodore Biadala, who is currently in holiday, so he quickly gave a reply about CSS variables, and that there are parser that exists. So maybe we have some kind of discovery system from how the CSS variables are declared inside the frameworks, for example, in my case, Bootstrap, etc., to have some kind of automatic form generation to override these kind of variables, but I'm not quite familiar, and I will have to test this kind of stuff. Just to share the knowledge of the feedback of Theodore. I made a mix between Theodore and Node, sorry. Neodor.
I built a parser myself for another project.
Okay.
Yes, but I showed to nobody, so maybe it's not what Theodore is talking. But I think it's heavy in processing to parse all the CSS and to get some variables. And also, there is two kinds of CSS variables. The one were attached to a root pseudo element, which will be global, and you can also attach some to some selectors if you want to have to alter some component. Look, it's not very common, the second situation, but it's used on material design, for example, a few times. And automatic parser, I don't know how they will differentiate the two situations.
I personally use a lot the second one.
Yeah, no, the second one is I was not expecting to see this, but I've seen it on material, so I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, but it's meant to overcharge a component, so I don't think we have to parse these ones.
Okay.
Default ones are defined in the roots.
Okay. I will share on the issue the parser I did.
Honestly, if you want to iterate on this module, start with something that's not parsed.
Declarative.
Yeah, declarative ones.
Yeah, that was the initial
likely
plan.
to be used.
That was the initial plan. You know, it's like the styles. You declare the styles one by one, and then here you declare the variable one by one, and then you print the variable when you use them.
You might want to allow the theme builder to organize things a bit, because if you take, for example, Gin theme and parse these variables, you'll have maybe, I don't know, 100. So if it's only parsed, it won't be really user friendly to process in the UI.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, thank you for your feedback. Please have a look on the issue if you're interested, and the issue will move on the next weeks. So it will be more and more, I think, concrete. I don't know what to say in English. It will be more and more close to the implementation. Okay, so this new module will be settled here. It will be the 5th, and it will alter the theme settings instead of the config entities. So this is a big plan.
Good luck altering the schema too.
I'm just mentioning it. I will discuss it more on the issue, but we did that same thing with SAS actually. We're doing SAS compilation with settings. So it's very interesting for me. I just mentioned it will replace actually one part of our workflow, if that works.
Yes, because SAS compilation is on a build time, and CSS variable is on
we do it on production.
So, I don't know what will happen with SAS properties on something like Bootstrap, but it seems they are replacing some of them by CSS variables. So So maybe the SAS variables will be less used for this kind of stuff in the future.
Yeah, that's because CSS tends to try to implement nesting and everything. So I use SAS variables a lot too, but I know that's not for long.
And asking rebuild in production, maybe it's a bit ambitious for the project. Maybe something you have to decide yourself for your project instead of
We don't
being
do
pushed
that.
by your module.
We do
Okay.
it. We do it because we have several things that actually the user can change. So
Yeah,
that's,
sure.
that's
No,
why. Yeah.
yeah,
But I want to say, like, I really like the idea. I really love to have this UI skin, UI theme thing coming. I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice. Okay.
UI skin is good. Is a good name. Huh? UI skin. Thank you.
Yeah,
Edouard.
UI skin is a good name. Yes.
Mm.
We will sleep on it, but for now it's the best name we have.
Mix it. UI sim skin, UI skins.
Okay, so next subject. So this was a subject we talked a lot in RubalCon. Fabian from Nivolé talked about this a few times. Andreas too, Mathieu from Inofo too. People are expecting or wishing type validation or field filtering, I don't know how to say that, into UI pattern, because as you know, it's not possible to inject any data to any UI pattern field. For example, some pattern fields are used on attribute, and if you inject markup, it will break. So now, when we are implementing a team, with my team, for example, or with your team, I guess, we know to be careful because it's part of our, because we are senior skill builder and we know it works and we know how to be careful. But a newcomer can struggle and can break stuff and be confused. Also, there is a new core issue, not the same as the previous one, but created by the same guy. And the new core issue is discussing about component definition format. And we are talking in this issue about do we need to enforce strong typing or not, thanks to JSON schema. So I think it's a hot subject and it's good to talk together. So with Andreas, we got a little talk and we found 4 distinct cases to deal with. The most common cases, it's when anything can be injected into a variable. For example, in those 2 examples, content and cards can be injected into the anything can be injected in content and cards because it can be markup, it can be just a string, integer, it can be a list, an array of markup, anything will work. The second case is where you expect a list of anything, a sequence. For example, if you are looping, if is there a question? I don't see the question.
No, I just want to hold my hand, but sorry, I don't want to disturb you. So that's the reason why I clicked this.
Yeah.
So because I don't know when you're ready. Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't see, so it's better to disturb me.
So no, I think I have to. So I think it's general a problem UI patterns because I think the concept behind this fields thing is wrong in general. So I think of course, you can add some kind of validation, but this doesn't make the problem better.
Yeah,
So, because,
I know you solve this by adding a property to your settings with who let settings act as a field or not.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should do it like React is doing that or Vue is doing that. So you have slots, and actually a field is a slot, and you have properties. And for example, an attribute is a property where you have type checking and where you have stuff like this, and you have slots. And something like the item or a field or something, because you can put everything into a slot. And for something like attributes, you need a prop. So, and React had props and slots, and Vue had prop and slots. Actually, every component-based system has props and slots. And yeah. And what's fields? Fields is nothing component related. Fields is just because there are fields in Drupal, because this is because there are fields in UI patterns. And I think we should remove fields and let fields like props, slots, and then we use some kind of prop mechanism.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And
I've got the same issues, and as I want my patterns to be really decoupled from Drupal, I had some problems to solve these cases. I now use UI pattern settings to make my props, and for fields having a certain need, I use some pre-processing to maybe like explode my multiple fields into multiple items as to write patterns. So I added some declarations in my patterns.yml and some pre-processing based on those declarations. But I agree we have to think about these problems. I like the props and slots.
Yeah, but prop and slots are not enough. For example, let me show you the for. It's a very good idea, prop and slots, but I think we need to go one step further. Let me show you the for cases. So anything will work. We need to loop, so we need a list. We need a strictly non-markup value, a non-loop value. For example, when we are integrating it to attribute, and then there is specific data structure. For example, related to the Drupal menu and Drupal breadcrumb. So prop and slots will address 1 and 3. 3 is a prop.
4 is also a prop. Everything which is not markup, which is not another Drupal rendered entity, is a slot. If you everything else like menu is a prop because it's structured data you can provide by a slot.
Okay, but so we have slots, and then we have props, but we have to differentiate prop because if someone is injecting the wrong data structure into the menu component, it will not work. I'm thinking about seed builders when they are, they are choosing the pattern and then they are starting the mapping from the back office. And also, is it a prop or a slot too?
2 is a prop, of course.
It's a prop
because it's a fixed list of items.
Yeah, but it's a fixed list. It's a list of slots. That's the confusing part.
For me, the issue is to differentiate the source of the data. So for me, the 2 should be a slot because we want to inject maybe a field or maybe many fields in this list. But we also need to be able to define some processing on the data. So maybe slots are auto-processed to, I don't know, remove markup or something. But if we want to be really able to have all the use cases, we need to let the pattern designer to define what's going to happen with the data.
And yeah, there is two places where we can act. The first is the pattern designer. Indeed, maybe you can say if it's a slot a prop, a list of slots. I will
Yeah.
like to add.
Slots can be lists. Yeah.
And and also there is the source plugin, the pattern source plugin. And in pattern source plugin, you are declaring what you can inject to the patterns. And here you can say this source field will be only for slot, only for props, for slot and prop, for slot and of slots, something like that.
I don't think this way of doing is good, because you cannot know in advance what the site builders will want to inject in the pattern, and you don't want to restrict this.
Okay.
I think the source plugins are there to define what's an object that can be injected. Then the site builder will have to choose where to put it.
Okay. Oh, but we agree there is a subject here.
Yeah, totally.
I good idea to take the vocabulary, this prop.
I don't know if we need a list of slots, but a slot that deal with this content as a list is something we need.
Yeah, it's a prop. It's a prop.
We have to think we have to think about the UI too, because we want site builders to be able to select a pattern and put content in it. So slots and props are two things we can manipulate, but if we add a third kind of thing, it's gonna be really strange. So if you think about managed display, for example, for people using field layouts, you have to the fields you want to drag and drop in some situations. Places. That's why I like the UI patterns settings approach, because you can still have your fields that you drag and drop in the pattern fields, also let's call it the slots, and use your settings as props, because as you can use tokens, you can really have only the value you need.
Yeah, actually, that's fields are slots and settings are props. So from conceptual point of view, so you don't need a type and a field in the field.
Yeah, in our project we do like that. In our project we do field as slot and settings as props, but it save us the most of the issues, but it's not perfect. For example, if you do a button, you want yeah, but okay, now it's UI pattern settings 2.0, so yeah, okay. But before at UI pattern settings 1, you want the URL to be a slot, because you want to map it from a property, from the source. Okay, but I'm talking about.
It's already working, but I know the problem. What you are, I have added some kind of as field property to do this, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can start to talk about like a UI pattern 2.0 stuff, where UI pattern settings will not be useful anymore, or maybe for a very specific case, because the fields will be revamped and with inspiration from UI pattern settings.
Do we need to talk about that now? Because
no. I'm just I'm talking just, you know.
Yeah, let's move on the 1.x version before.
Yeah, sure.
2.8. Just so you know, I told you I had some pre-processing on my patterns. I have actually 3 types of processings. I have optional fields that allow the field to be empty, really empty, not just with a small render array. So if I tag one of my fields as optional, there is a pre-processing that renders it really empty, so I can make a if in Twig. I have another one for Boolean types that calculates the content of the field, of the pattern field, to just output true or false. And then I also have a multiple tag on my fields that explodes the contents into an array I can manipulate in a for loop in Twig. These are not exclusive. You can have more than one on your field, and everything is a flag in the fields declaration in the UI patterns YAML file. Then it's pre-processed with a service that I use on all my projects. So I'm thinking about this issue for a long time, and I wish there were in UI patterns a plugin system where we could declare pre-processings based on the definitions.
Yeah, that would be a nice idea. So the declaration will be done on the C building side, not stuck on the pattern.
I think it's more a backend dev thing.
But you can't use our own UI pattern settings, also an own plugin type for this?
I don't know. What I did is to use pre-processing, I think. No, I overcharged the pattern type, the render or the render elements pattern to add a pre-processing. That's my code. So you can do that, but it will be easier for project developers to have a plugin system where you can just have a pre-processed plugin or something like that that would apply on your settings or on your pattern. That's also why I had an old merge request on UI patterns asking that we use a double underscore separator in the templates, so we could have a pre-process pattern that's working for all patterns, because a long time ago I used that pre-process to do the same things. So that's not.
I didn't understand the second stuff. You want to call the pre-process function from the pattern, so from the template?
A long time ago, I tried to fix this issue using pre-process, but as today our templates are pattern name, we don't have the double dash that's used by the Drupal core stream system. So we cannot have something like my theme underscore pre-process underscore patterns that's called for all patterns. That's not working.
Okay.
So a long time ago, I did a patch on UI patterns to introduce that. So it's still in the PR somewhere, but I don't use it anymore. It was to fix the same issue. So
yeah, maybe we will find another way to fix the issue.
Yeah, you have a lot of ways. That's why the UI patterns module is cool, because you can still interact with it even if it's kind of low level. But I still think a plugin system would be great to add, so people could react to pattern settings easily.
Okay, so it will be on the pattern definition file we are calling the plugin.
No, I don't think. I think the all plugins could be called by the pattern manager, and each plugin would choose to react or not to patterns given what's in their definition.
Okay.
The idea behind that is that if we want our patterns to be reusable and reusable outside of Drupal, we need to have those kinds of processing on the Drupal way, on the Drupal side. If we start to use Drupalisms in the twig files or two specific things in the YAML declarations, we are losing this interoperability, even if it's already low because we use Twig. So for me, everything that Drupal can do on its side, it's better for reusability of our patterns.
My summary is good for the plugin type?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if other people agree.
Okay, for me.
Okay, so this was the brainstorming part. It seems the two subjects gain traction, and anything we propose looks nice and better than strong typing. So it's very exciting. We are on time. It's been 1 hour. Someone want to add something?
Yeah, maybe you can add on your notes that what we said earlier, that's what we can call slots in the outer world are fields in the patterns, and what we call props are settings from UI pattern settings. Because I think that we agreed on that.
We already have this prop versus slot
Discussion.
Non, différenciation, putain, mon anglais. We have already props and slots in UI pattern ecosystem with field and settings. That's what you want to say?
Yeah. Yeah, because if someone wants to, yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
okay, it's not that perfect, but we can work around the problem with those two.
Yeah. But of course, it would be great if we can start some kind of UI pattern settings 2. Sorry, if there is a chance, I would be happy to work on this. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I think we should move all the plugins, all the modules to one centralized UI patterns module, because everything what's inside your core should be mapped through one module and not through 8 modules. You have to look around on Drupal.org. I think so.
It's a huge discussion, but it's not everybody agree.
It's really for a newbie. It's very hard to start.
I know.
I can't explain why I can't map this, but this not. And for this, I need a plugin, and for this not. And so, yeah, it's really, I think, yeah, it's not a good idea to handle it.
Yeah,
Antonio didn't agree, Antonio.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if even to have this discussion, should we start an issue for this kind of discussion or not?
Yeah, we should.
Or having having this kind of discussion inside an issue will take too long, and will slow slow the process of finally
it will centralize the discussion.
We can
Sorry?
It will centralize the discussion, and we can invite Antonio and Fabian also, because they
for the ones that cannot attend the meetings, and yes, of course.
I think we can do both and start an issue, then in the next meeting take maybe 10 minutes to summarize what has been said and have some new ideas. I agree with Christian that we need to rethink what's in UI patterns core, but I'm not sure we need to have everything inside. Maybe we can push something out and take some things in.
Something in, yeah. So something layout builder.
If it's in Drupal
must be
core,
in core.
it's in UI pattern core. If it's not in Drupal core, it's not in UI pattern core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UI pattern field group. Get out.
Yeah. Get out. Yeah. And you're.
It's not for you, Edward. It is because during DrupalCon, with the last release of field group, there had been some failing tests due to the last release, and after that, I realized that there had been already a pull request since January, but it was completely inside the merge pull request list, and I have not seen it and did not thought about searching in that. So I would have gained some hours of during DrupalCon, but and finally we made the same fix. But yeah.
At least it's fixed.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys. I will send a new invite for next month, maybe 8th of November, if that's okay for you. Same time,
Fine.
1 o'clock.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It's good.
Good, great.
It was nice to have you all here. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
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 Bye. Hello, Pierre?
Ouais, je savais que tu voulais débriefer.
Ah, putain, il était trop bien ce meeting. Attends, j'arrête